So Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic penned an article today. Why the Astros' path to an 8th straight ALCS appears increasingly problematic. I thought it was a good article. For the most part, I would say, Paul, his points were pretty fair. There's some stuff I disagree with him on about, what the Astros did this offseason and how it's going to affect them going forward. But overall, the concerns are there. Because first of all, it just, even though we are living in the moment where they've gone to an ALCS 7 straight times, it still feels like bizarre to say that because that is such a daunting task for one team to accomplish that. So at some point, it's going to end.
You're doing it again.
No.
Yeah, you are.
How many times did the Patriots go to an AFC championship game in a row?
That's when the first round of the playoffs started. It was like a decade plus.
Was it?
Yes. It was insane, dude.
I know the Chiefs are in like a very similar stretch to the Astros. They're at 6 or 7. I think they're at 6 now. Straight. Like it's not something that it happens.
No. This is your God-given right, Joe. This is your God-given right. This is the expectations. 8 appearances in a row the Patriots did.
Wow. I mean,
3 Super Bowls over that stretch.
You have the Patriots and Brady. LeBron, I'm sure, like himself, has that covered. Not exactly as a team because he bounced around so much. The Astros and the Chiefs. Like, it's something very rarely done. So I get why there are questions if it can be done again, especially with the way the season started. But
I don't get it. Expect it every year.
I mean, expect it for sure.
Expect it every year. And LeBron, by the way, it was 8 consecutive.
It was 8?
I think it was 8 consecutive finals appearances.
That's crazy.
That is really nuts.
And probably that's at least 2 teams, if not maybe a Cavs team, a Heat team, and then back to the Cavs.
It was 4 with the Heat, 4 with the Cavs, and then he went to the Lakers, and then they didn't make the finals in 19, and they won the finals in 20.
They won a fake championship.
So it was 9 finals trips in 10 years.
That's crazy. All that guy did is win. From this article, what do you think was the most fair observation that you had that Ken Rosenthal put out there?
I think signing Josh Hader, he made an interesting point. He said that it was an overreaction. Didn't go so far as to call it a mistake. And then said that Hector Neris, Ryan Stanek, and Phil Maton are making slightly more than Josh Hader will this one season. So you could have had 3 arms. Instead, you opted to go over the luxury tax for 1. And if you're concerned about going over the luxury tax to the point where you're not going to sign Blake Snell, well, you shouldn't have signed Josh Hader. I think that was an interesting point. We'll see how Hader does over the course of the year. It is early. He could have some huge moments down the stretch for this team. But I think that's a totally fair thing to suggest that more might have been better than one guy who's super high quality.
Yeah, I do agree with that, even though the last, week, as the pitching has been a disaster at the start of games, the middle of your bullpen has been really strong. And even though Brian Abreu, I just feel shaky when he goes out there. Right now, I still believe in him, Presley, and Hader immensely. But it was an overreaction, but in a way, I hate to say I'm glad someone got hurt, but if Kendall Graveman doesn't get hurt, think about where the Astros are right now. You're talking about Kendall Graveman as your 7th inning guy with Abreu and Presley with all the other issues you have. At least with Josh Hader, the talent is at a whole other level for him. So you really do believe that he can go in and dominate a game where I never believed that with Graveman and either of the times he was on Astros. He's a good pitcher, but he's never he can't be as elite.
His second stint was not good.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, when he went to the Astros the first time, yeah, there were some good moments, but he left. He was in Chicago, right? And he comes back, and yeah, I don't think he was the same pitcher. So to have just him this coming season, yeah, we would be talking about some of these same issues. But, okay, Todd the Show points out on Twitch, we'll have JP France and Hunter Brown in the bullpen by the end of the year. Are they going to work out there? Do you really feel that way? Do you think that those guys are going to come into games and not be messes? I've seen with Hunter Brown before that I feel like it's possible. I think we saw a couple of moments down the stretch last year. But, I mean, we all saw JP France in the bullpen against the Texas Rangers when they asked him to get some outs. And it turned into basically like the last time we saw JP France on the hill against the Rangers.
Yeah, because my biggest disagreement here is JP France will not be in the bullpen by the end of the year. He just won't be on the roster.
You won't be on the roster.
He'll be in the minors.
You can listen to him pitch on ESPN 92.5.
Yeah,
for the Space City or for the Sugarland Space Cowboys.
I don't see bullpen stuff. I don't know how anyone sees bullpen level stuff. At least with Hunter Brown, you see the velocity. I think there's a better chance it's just Arrighetti is in your bullpen by the end of the year in theory when everyone gets healthy, or Urquidy or Garcia. But I'm not sure JP France really fills that role. Maybe he's there as your long guy when Christian Javier can only go 4 innings.
New Belak.
Yeah, he's exactly. But you have Belak, so it's like, do you need another Belak in the bullpen? I don't know.
I think you want to do better than Belak.
Agreed.
Is France better than Belak?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I would lean no.
I know I don't like that I'm talking about these names at all.
Yeah, I don't.
Be perfectly
I don't want to
honest.
think about it, but I mean that is the issue with how the Astros approach their bullpen, and I think that's a fair point to make, that they spend all this money on one arm when realistically, even before Graveman got hurt, but definitely after it, like, would they have been better off just splitting up that contract that they gave to Hader to 3 different guys and instead of being a 5-year deal, there are 3 different 2-year deals.
Yeah, that is not necessarily that bringing, like your point, like bringing those 3 guys back exactly, but
no, just
finding
any
anybody.
3 guys.
Yeah, finding 3 arms to replace 3 arms probably would have made more sense.
Equivalents.
Yeah. So one of the points that he brought, with that too, is why would you, if you're going to go over the luxury tax, why not just get Blake Snell? The Reggie Jackson thing, it's like, I just can't get out of my head. Where like Reggie Jackson says there's this committee and they decided that they're not going to play that game. But it's been well documented and reported that there was a certain number that the Astros were willing to go to. It was below $30 million a year. So like, that to me means they are willing to go with the luxury tax, but there's only a certain level that they wanted to, or that they valued Blake Snell at. Like, who hasn't been good?
That's what I was gonna say. Is
he
that
hasn't
the Blake
been
Snell
good.
thing? It's like
Jordan Montgomery and Michael Lorenzen, to Ken Rosenthal's point, do not solve your problems right now because they haven't pitched in 2024. Michael Lorenzen is going to make his debut for the Rangers today, I think it is, or tomorrow. Jordan Montgomery just made a rehab start on Saturday, so that I think it's a short-sighted of like, hey, these problems right now, these guys would have fixed it. They really wouldn't have, because they signed so late that they haven't pitched yet.
Yeah, if you're writing this article less than 20 games into the season and you're using the like Blake Snell thing, if they signed Blake Snell and he did exactly what he's done for the Giants, which is 7 innings pitched, 10 earned runs.
Yikes.
Guess what? He's going to be part of the negatives because you signed him. because you signed him to $30 million a year. And that would be, the only 2 moves they made were Josh Hader and Blake Snell. Blake Snell, who stunk it up, and Josh Hader. Like, that one feels like it's like playing the results almost, but you're not even playing the results of Blake Snell stunk. Like, Blake Snell would just be part of the problem if he was still up.
Yeah, you have Fromber. Yeah, you have Fromber and JV coming back. Both will start for the Astros by next Thursday, it sounds like. So that's where it balances some of that out. Now, there was another article this weekend, or interview that Dana Brown gave when we talked about the depth of this team. I think as much as we give credit to Ronald Blanco for how well he's done, the Astros cannot be out there acting like that they thought this was Ronald Blanco. Like, that is not realistic to say that, yeah, we think he was going to throw a no-hitter and be the most.
Don't underestimate Dana Brown's ability to turn a victory into a political victory.
Yeah.
He won the starting job the last tune-up game of the season, not even spring training.
So that one I push back on, like this depth that they've had, because their depth has been getting crushed, except for Ronald Blanco. So that's where they could have added a starting pitcher. I would have liked them to add a starting pitcher. I mean, but they didn't, and part of the reason why is because
they're telling us is that they didn't want to spend more money.
Yeah, but they
spend
so
more
much
money on Hader.
But at the same time, if they did spend that money and the Astros have gotten what these other teams have gotten out of these guys that signed super late. So nothing from Jordan Montgomery, nothing from Michael Lorenzen, and bad 2 starts from Blake Snell, we would be crushing them for spending the money. So like at a certain point, the issue is that Hunter Brown has been bad, and Spencer Arrighetti in his 1 start fell apart in the 3rd inning. And the Blair Henley thing, which is just embarrassing.
Yeah, that was a series of unfortunate events.
I swear I'm gonna stop saying his name.
I doubt it. You keep saying that. Like, you keep saying you're not gonna say it. And then you keep saying it.
Bloody Mary. He's going to come at us in the mirror and throw a baseball at her head.
He'll probably miss us.
At the end of the day, they just need these guys. I was reading the name.
Damn.
They just need
Joe's
these guys
just
to play
bullying
better.
Blair Henley still.
I mean, look, I get bullied a lot, so when I have the opportunity
You're punching
to down. Yeah.
You are punching down.
When I have the opportunity to bully someone back,
Bullying a minor league pitcher.
I gotta
Yeah.
take the opportunity. Sorry, Blair. It was
funny though.
there was 2 reaches in this that you wrote down here that were my biggest takeaways too from this article.
He talked about the depletion of the farm system, and he talked about the leadership void as things to be concerned about going forward. And he brought up Hector Neris. He brought up Martin Maldonado. I get it. Okay, look at what Jose Altuve is doing to open the year. Altuve is having literally the best season of his career in the first 2 to 3 weeks. It is the best season he has had. Compare the numbers. He has never started a season better. He's got 5 home runs. He's nearly batting 400, for God's sake. He's got an OPS that's nearly 1,200. He is crushing it right now. Altuve is always the leader for this team, and there's always this weird thing like, well, he doesn't like talk. Shut up.
Yeah.
Stop. You don't need to. With this team, it is all about example. It does not matter when you've put this thing together for as long as they have. It has nothing to do with what you effing say. What are you talking about?
Yeah, because he's not Kevin Garnett. That we don't think he's a great leader. Like, if this team doesn't have enough leadership on it when they have Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, and Justin Verlander on the roster, I'm sorry, that's on those guys.
But this is what people have been trying to preach since the minute Correa walked out the door, because Carlos Correa wasn't afraid to yell at Framber Valdez when he was having a mental breakdown on the mound. Like that's the reality of it. Like, since Correa left, leadership and who's going to do mound visits and all that nonsense has been this weird talking point within the Houston Astros, like, fan base and media view, when it's like,
Yeah, well, you
dude,
need a slap on the ass? Come on.
like, sorry, Jose Altuve. And I think the reason why it goes back to the press conference of how uncomfortable Jose Altuve looked in 2020, standing up there in front of the media, him and Alex Bregman both. And I think it gives people outside the organization this weird vibe that those 2 guys lack leadership, because in the moment they were nervous. Like,
apologizing.
Understandably so.
Apologizing.
100%.
and basically having to be the faces of a cheating scandal.
Especially when one of them literally didn't cheat. So one did, one didn't. But, like, I think that's why everyone questions leadership with the Astros, because of that moment.
Lost
honestly.
Marwin Gonzalez from the 17 team.
So they brought that up, and they also brought the depletion of the farm system too. Rosenthal did in reasons why the Astros' path for an 8th straight ALCS appears problematic, which is a weird way to describe it.
Yeah,
it's not problematic like that.
When I saw the headline, I was kind of confused on what the
Is
article
Ken
was gonna be.
Rosenthal canceling the Astros?
It's like, oh, great. Do we have
It sounds like
we have
it.
a sexual harassment scandal on our hands?
God. Did they hire Brandon Taubman again?
Is P. Diddy a Astros fan now too, or something like 50 Cent? But the other points, and you laid them all out. I think all of them were fair criticisms, and of course the one that we didn't mention but we've talked about earlier, signing Michael Brantley, signing Rafael Montero, signing Jose Abreu. Those were all deals that happened after James Click, and for all those people who got annoyed with the many, I can't believe the Astros would treat James Click this way, and there was a lot of that. People were directing that specifically at Chandler Rome, among others. Okay, well, maybe keep the same energy when the guy that's there instead of James Click, who you might not have been the biggest fan of and who might not have been the biggest fan of here, at least at the same time, let's have the same energy for those disastrous contracts. All of them were terrible. Yep. All of them. The Brantley one is the stupidest one, which is crazy.
And the guy who signed it was, or not, he might not have actually signed it, but the guy who had a big voice in that room for that offseason was Jeff Bagwell, who then said, yeah, he'll be ready for opening day, and then he didn't play until August.
He played 15 games.
Like that, him being in the decision-making role and not knowing that he, instead of being ready for opening day, was going to miss the first 5 months of the season.
They literally had him on the roster and could have looked at his shoulder because he is an employee of the Astros. Montero, okay, 1 year, he looked good. Jose Abreu, he wasn't here.
Back of the baseball card.
Brantley, what was that? I don't understand it. It was a 1 year deal. It wasn't like it killed them for years, but why did they think he was going to be fine?
It's a great question.
Yeah, it's also like, did Rosenthal lump that in the article?
Yeah, because he talks about, because he uses it kind of as
an example.
Well, and like the luxury tax stuff is like you made these bad contract decisions where Montero.
I was going to say they literally made the ALCS last year with Brantley on the team, so that's not a reason that they can't make the ALCS. But I get it as far as the luxury tax stuff. I get that.
Yeah, the farm system one. I don't know if it's a reach because.
Well, who's going to help him this year? Who was going to help him? Of the guys who were on the roster, that's why I pushed back on it, Joe.
Yeah.
The guys that they brought up were the ones that were used in the trade for Justin Verlander, whose names I already forget. Maybe they will be good. What, Ryan Clifford wasn't even the good player.
Clifford and Gilbert were the
yes.
Drew Gilbert.
Drew Gilbert, right. Okay. I mean, it would be nice to have guys in the farm system, I guess, but who are they replacing with the way that this lineup is currently constructed? You know? Like, I guess maybe Jake Myers or Jose Abreu. Like that's it.
Yeah, the farm system one feels like more of a, this is why they won't make the 2025, 2026 ALCS
not this
and not
season.
the 20. That's why the
could still do
streak
8.
isn't in danger because of this. The streak is in danger because Hunter Brown and Spencer Arrighetti have not been what people thought they were 2 months ago.
What if they got Bryce Matthews right and he's your Alex Bregman replacement? Then your farm system's fine. This team is so good. You don't need 7 prospects.
It's a big what if,
You're not
though.
the Pirates.
Big what if.
It is. No, it's a big
But
one.
all these guys are what if. Like
Yeah.
the number 2, whatever the number 1, number 2 ranked farm system is, that's a lot of what if. No one thought Jeremy Pena was going to be any good.
I do think, though, it is fair to wonder about, to what you were saying, 25, 26. But this article should be about the right now, okay? And
it's also early to write the article right now.
it is very early.
it's like that's,
But they know it'll
that's
get
one
clicks.
thing.
They know it'll get clicks.
It definitely came out a little
20
late.
minutes of talking.
People who don't want to talk about how Chandler Rome had an article about Jose Altuve's awesome start, but they want to talk about Ken Rosenthal.
Yeah.
My guy, Chandler. Chandler holding up a fist right now.
People really don't like Chandler. I don't really get why. I just don't get it.
I never have understood.
I think they just want to hate for a lot of reasons.
Why are you mad at him?
Need to get the knives out at someone so Chandler can catch it.
Yeah.
The Twitter account can catch it.
Oh, Twitter account, man. It's still catching it. Every tweet I see, like every time the Astros score runs, it's like I'm gonna tweet like the admin. 7 runs, 7 innings with a winky face, and people do not like the new admin. That does not seem to be going away.
Yeah, she got doxxed.
Yeah, that sucked. But that doesn't surprise me.